All right, Cam, talking about how you recruit in the modern era of college football. I think it's really tough to be Big 12 teams because you see the SEC and the Big 10 prize some of the best guys away. I'm curious about Baylor examples. I want you to tell me about those. Utah is a corner in Cameron Calhoun, who was really good last year. He transferred from Michigan to Utah. He tweeted out that he was going to stay at Utah. Man, am I doing the thing that all these guys do? Okay, he's locked in. He was even messaging other. He posted on Twitter, Utah fans, show this guy some love. Let's get him to Salt Lake City. Then 3 days later, enters the portal. And reports come out that he's gotten more lucrative offer from some of the biggest brands in the sport. Miami being one of those two. And some Big Ten, some SEC, because that's what ends up happening in today's college football world. So I do think it's really challenging to recruit. I don't think it's ever been harder to land some of the best guys just because a lot of them might just go where the highest offer is. And I think what becomes even more important for the Utahs and the Baylor is developing the talent you do get.
Yeah. And I'm interested to see with a lot of Big 12 schools, how many of them take, I guess we'll call it the Dion approach now, or the failed Jake Spavital approach at Texas State of how many of these guys are just going to build their team through the portal? It's not an easy thing to do. But especially when you look at a Utah, which, as you know, not a recruiting hotbed, obviously California nearby, which is a big help for the Utes. But I look at Baylor through the lens that I look at it through usually, and it's Baylor could be amongst those schools just because of their profile of a program that should just go for guys in the portal. But they're also smack dab in the middle of the best football state in America. You know what I mean? It's an advantage for a Baylor, for a TCU, even a Tech, who's a little bit off the beaten path, but can use that I-35 corridor and get some of the best high school talent in America. And they're overlooked as 3 stars because, they're a wide receiver and their ex-receiver is a 5-star going to Michigan. You know what I mean? And so Baylor has that kind of advantage. I don't know that Utah necessarily does, but again, they do a heavy recruiting in California, so there's some of that. Sure.
Some good high school football. Utah has some good high school football, but when we're comparing it to Texas, California, and Florida, no, those are the best.
Where you can, fall. You could fall backwards into a decent recruiting class in Texas just by getting a bunch of 3-stars. So I've said this recently on my show about Baylor and as it relates to the portal. I think Utah and most of the Big 12, to be fair, fits in this same kind of box here of the portal should be a huge asset for schools like us because it could be a great place for guys that are coming from, the mid-major conferences, the group of 5, and are ready to take that next step up. For Baylor, it was DeQuan Finn, who was the all-MAC quarterback, MAC player of the year the last couple of years, had a great career at Toledo, and he steps up, becomes a starter at Baylor. Obviously, as you guys saw in Utah, it didn't work out. It did not work out. But that should be a good spot, a good destination for guys like that, a place like Baylor or Utah. But maybe more importantly, those bounce back guys, because with the portal, we're seeing guys less patient than ever. So you look at these 4 or 5-star guys that go to SEC Big Ten schools and they don't get any snaps year 1 or year 2. And they're looking to get in the portal. I can show you the Big 12 and schools like Baylor and Utah who, compete for conference championships and therefore will compete for playoff spots. They put guys in the NFL. They have, especially in Utah's case, great head coach. You're going to get a good damn experience coming here and play some big-time college football. We saw it recently with Baylor, Kobe Prentice, a wide receiver from Alabama, did 3 years at Alabama. His numbers went down each year. And so he's like, look, I got to find a bounce back spot to go. Or Michael Trigg, the former 5-star tight end, started at USC, then went to Ole Miss, wasn't getting any shine there. He comes to Baylor, somebody's at my door, and he gets some big time play at Baylor. Utah should be the same way. And it's just interesting to see, how these programs continue to adapt to that and whether they do take a full Dion method and bring in almost an entire new team through the portal, or whether they can still, utilize Utah and California as recruiting hubs. And I'm just fascinated by that, but they should be, most of these schools in this conference should be good destinations, especially for bounce back guys in the portal. And I think that's how you keep up.
Such a great point. That was one of my favorite lines I've ever heard on the show, by the way, when you were just midpoint and you didn't even miss a beat. And then you're like, someone's at my door.
Yeah. Or someone's just trying to drop off a package for someone in the apartment building. Yeah. We get that a lot.
No, but you're absolutely right. so many guys that, hey, like the Utah just last year, remember they got Tayshaun Lyons. It's a former 4-star receiver at Washington who now transferred to Utah. Now, granted, it didn't play a lot last year, but it's still like, hey, taking time, learning, growing, developing. That's still a 4-star talent you have there who went bigger, didn't work, and now falls back down. There's good and bad with everything. Like, I mean, literally pretty much everything you could think of. The transfer portal is a great example of that. Oh, man, one of our guys balls out. Oh, that sucks. We got to lose him. Oh, hey, there's a guy who committed to a FCS school or a group of 5 school, Utah, Devin Dampier, the new quarterback. He balled out. Let's bring him on in. He can help us be better now. And same thing with, oh, there's this 4-star that is underperforming at the Big Ten. Well, he's maybe just not getting the best coaching. Let's bring him in too. So
think of how often that's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Of especially those bounce back guys. Like, you want to talk about how you compete with the SEC. Well, every year there's a couple SEC coaches that get fired, or worse yet, there's some that should get fired that don't. Look at Arkansas. I mean, they've got like 30 guys in the portal right now.
Yeah.
That's how you can compete with these guys. And I'm talking like former 4-star guys. I mean, there's one from the Central Texas area that I was looking at. 4-star guy, Arkansas. They're all in the portal now. So that's a way that you keep up. You take some guys who play, in some cases start, and you take them from those schools through the portal.
Mm-hmm. Wait, the SEC fires coaches? I thought it means more. So just like, why would they? They're better, already better than every other program in America. So outside, so I can't believe they fired him, especially in Arkansas. I mean, it's not like they lost to lowly Oklahoma State in the Big 12. Oh wait, they did, and not a single person.
Oh man, I had so many Arkansas fans commenting on my video about the portal. Like, why would they ever want to go to Baylor? I'm like, look, we don't lose to Oklahoma State here, okay? So, like, lost to Oklahoma State couldn't be any one of us in the Big 12. So, yeah. It's just a gentle reminder. Yeah.
It's absolutely wild. So, yeah, and it's fascinating to see just how Big 12 schools are going to continue to recruit. If you look at the 2025 recruiting rankings, Utah's 38th, Baylor's 35th. So both sides able to land a couple of 4-star talents. So you're still staying competitive there. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to crack that. When you look at shout out to Georgia Tech, who is the 18th highest ranked recruiting class right now, outside of like Miami and Notre Dame. That's by far the most for non-SEC and Big Ten schools. So that's kind of great. There. I know Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech, North Carolina ACC championship next year.
Ooh, Bill Belichick.
Many are asking. Yeah. JT will be there in his own backyard.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll be there.
I'd go to that. So yeah, literally just a short trip down to Charlotte. So that would be a lot of fun.